The Transfiguration, which is at Mark 9:2-9, and you can follow along in your pew Bibles or
820.
820 in your pew Bibles, or look up front. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain apart by themselves. And he was transfigured before them, and his clothes became dazzling white, such as no one on earth could bleach them. And there appeared to them Elijah with Moses, who were talking with Jesus. Then Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us make 3 dwellings, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say, for they were terrified. Then a cloud overshadowed them, and from the cloud there came a voice, "This is my Son, the beloved. Listen to him." Suddenly, when they looked around, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus. As they were coming down the mountain, he ordered them to tell no one about what they had seen until after the Son of Man had risen from the dead. Here is a reading from the New Testament. Amen. Today is Transfiguration Sunday. We hear in this text that Jesus is changed. He is transformed. For us in the Protestant tradition, this marks the end of the season of Epiphany, the time after Christmas when we expect to see Jesus. It's appearances. Epiphany means manifestation or appearance. So we're looking for visions of Jesus. And so this marks the end of that season. Does anybody know what Wednesday is this week? Ash Wednesday. This church, it belongs to the Low Church Protestant tradition, and historically we haven't always celebrated Lent in the way that Catholics or Lutherans have celebrated. We haven't always had an Ash Wednesday service here. However, this Wednesday is also our leadership team, so I thought we could gather at 6:30 before the leadership team at 7. Nobody has to come. If I'm here by myself praying, that's perfectly fine. And we'll just have a brief service of prayer and meditation on life and death and limits and mortality. So we will do a little short Ash Wednesday service, and then we begin the season of Lent. And in Lent, there's always somebody in this congregation who says something about giving things up, which forces me to think about what I'm going to give up. Sometimes I take things on, and so last year during Lent, I read the New Testament over again because of something Tyler Cummins said to me. This year, I've decided I'm going to read the New Jim Crow. I've been meaning to get that book read, and I haven't gotten it read, so that's going to be my Lenten discipline, is to take on finishing reading Michelle Alexander's book about the New Jim. And anybody who'd like to join me in reading that book is welcome to do so. I know that Carla has already done that in the book group in Ferguson. So you can think about that, taking something on or giving something up. Today, however, we stand on the mountaintop. We stand in the midst of the glory. And Jesus is there, and he takes with him Peter, James, and John. And there's 2 powerful ways in which Jesus experiences the glory. And I liked the good news, so I want to review this for you briefly. So let's move to the good news text here, and I'll share it with you now. I like that picture. That was a picture online of the Transfiguration, a mystical, dreamlike experience of the Lord. And now we want to work. So in verses 2 and 3, there's this. As they looked on, a change came over Jesus, and his clothes became shiny, whiter than anyone could wash them. Then the three disciples saw Elijah and Moses talking with Jesus. But the encounter does not end there. It goes on. A cloud appeared and covered them with its shadow, and a voice came from the cloud, "This is my own dear son, listen to him." Do you remember where else in the text in Mark there's that same phrase? Where is it? I mean, at the baptism. At the baptism. I think Jesus needed this powerful experience at this point in the story. If you look at the book of Mark, this is about halfway through. And so I feel like Jesus was at a point in his ministry and life where he needed a powerful experience of the Lord in order to go back down and continue the ministry, which would take him where? Take him to Good Friday, to death and resurrection. We all need powerful encounters of Jesus at times, don't we? And I used to think that many people hadn't had those kinds of experiences, but I want to be honest with you, that is not what I hear and experience many times over here at this church. I find that there are people coming in and out of my life who have dramatic experiences and much more ordinary experiences. So, my questions are, how have you experienced the Lord and the glory of the Lord recently? What were your first encounters of God? How has that changed over time? Do you see God in the moment or more in looking back over time? I have to say it happens both ways for me. And even in the news today, recently you have those, we had that amazing experience that Linda told us of the young man who'd gone under the water and walked out of the hospital last week. I mean, that's just a dramatic, incredible experience of the Lord. But there are everyday, ordinary experiences as well. And I think when we look, we find the Lord at work in our lives. So as I was thinking about this and contemplating my own relationship with the Lord and how I had experienced the Lord, I remember a devotional I read recently in this book. Some of you know I use this every day, Native Wisdom for White Minds. And this week, I guess it was this week, on the 9th of February, there was this meditation called Being Human Spirituality. Ann Wilson Schaaf puts together these meditation books, and they can be wonderful. So, the quote, there's always a quote before the reflection, and the quote is this. It's up there for you. One soul can only travel as fast as one's feet can carry one, which is from it's an old Native American saying. And Wilson Schaaf reflects on that saying in this way. Sometimes we try to get ahead of ourselves. We try to make the spiritual unworldly and ethereal. We try to remove the spiritual from the earthly and bodily aspects of ourselves. We try to find philosophies and techniques that remove us from our day-to-day existence, thinking this will make us holy. We want that mountaintop experience, right? We want to ascend. We want to transcend and transform our daily living to experience that which is beyond us. Yet, here we are in this body, on this earthly plane, what we do every day. We are Earth. We are here now. Our bodies, our lives interact and are a part of everything around us. It is only when we try to remove ourselves from our oneness with all things that our spirituality becomes separate and eludes us. The takeaway thought is, my task here is to be fully human. As I embrace and live my humanness, I know my place in the oneness. I like that. I like that. So I was thinking this week, how is it that I have experienced the oneness? And I have to say there have been some dramatic experiences recently where out of the blue someone contacted me and wanted to participate in the ministry of this church in pretty profound ways, which have stunned me, and I am touched. Sometimes I don't know how to keep up with all the appeals that come to me these days for people who want to engage with us in ministry here. To God be the glory, amen. So that's happening. That really is happening in my life, and I want you to know that. At the same time, I have to tell you that the very ordinary can seem quite extraordinary. And I kept thinking as I wrote this about a young man who delivered a mattress to my house. I bought the first mattress I've ever bought in my life this week. I never knew I could feel so good. I have blind arthritis on aches and pains that now could have been rectified with a good mattress. So I'm testifying. If you ever get the chance to buy a good mattress, and I didn't pay what some people paid. Got on sale a good box spring mattress that was a little above the lowest grade, and I feel like I'm in heaven. So there's that right now there, just the reality of allowing yourself to experience something really good, like a good night's sleep. But this young man came in, he pulled that mattress in. I have a double bed. I thought it was a single bed the way he was carrying it. He flipped it around like it was a matchstick. And he was very efficient, very quick. And at some point, I got a mattress for the upstairs too, and a single bed. And so he was carrying stuff upstairs, and he said, "Could I use your restroom?" And I said, certainly. And we had a pleasant exchange. And then he came down and they got ready to leave, and he looked at me and he said, "I appreciate you." And I couldn't help myself. I said, "God bless you." Now, it was nothing extraordinary, a throwaway moment in many respects. But he saw me, and I saw him, and I couldn't resist saying, I try to be careful about saying God bless you because I think I may offend. He wasn't offended at all. I just said, "God bless you. Have a good day." And we blessed each other. And it was a moment of holiness. Amen? Amen. So, enter into the moment. Go to the top of the mountain. Revisit that place within yourself where you know you are holy, one with the good Lord, grateful to be alive in this body, willing to go out in the world and proclaim God is a good God. He's a great God. He can do anything but fail. He has